Police and Fire Committee opening. Fire Committee opening. The only reason I called the meeting today, I wanted to share, go over some things in the budget, make sure that we're getting everything in there and discuss the situations they've got and get some updates. This is sort of our quarterly meeting, just before budget, and then we'll talk about anything else needs to be talked about. Sheriff, we bought the tasers last year.
Right.
How many more payments have we got on those?
We've got 3 payments on 31 tasers.
Okay, and how much is that payment?
It's 13,000 and change. Okay, I don't have it.
We've got that in the budget for this year.
Yes,
Okay, and I know that you told me earlier today that the camera system and the new jail board are up. They're just working on some.
yes.
What
They
is
just
still got
finished,
left?
they have installed all of the cameras, the control board and dispatch, it's up and running, but they've got to do some final tweaking on it, to make sure we don't have any bugs in it, so it's installed.
Okay. One of the things that you brought to my attention is you have several older vehicles, and I know that Fred is going to be selling some of your much older vehicles,
Yes,
but you still have how many in use in excess of 200,000 miles?
17, I believe it's right.
17?
I think that's right.
How many total cars you running, Sheriff?
We got 46, let me see. what I find it.
You're running 46 cars, and
Yes.
17 of those are over 200,000 miles.
Yes. Let's see if this is right. Yes,
This is on the taser.
that's on the tasers. That's your payment right
Payment is
there.
$14,311 on the tasers.
Right,
And you said there's 31 of those that we're still paying for?
yes, these 31 right here in the middle.
We already owned some when we bought them some more. Okay. And then you had,
27. We got 27 vehicles, from 101,000 up to 208,000 miles on it. And when we first started, we were getting 5 to 6 vehicles a year. And in 2011, we got 12 vehicles. We didn't get any in 2012. Then we got 5 or 6 a year after that. But since then, the last couple of years, we've added 6 slots to courthouse security and 2 transport officers at 6. And so it's kind of put me in a bind, the sheriff's department, a bind on vehicles. So we're gonna ask for 12 vehicles this time, and hopefully, after that, 8 a year, the way we figured it out, we can sustain our fleet on 8 vehicles a year, if we can get it. So that's what we're asking for,
How long you been in office, Sheriff?
9 years.
Well, the only reason I asked that is because your predecessor had been buying used vehicles, and he was trying to save the county money at that time, but it ended up biting us in the butt.
Exactly,
And that's when it took us a while playing catch up,
that's right.
is one of the reasons that, we
That's
bought so
exactly
many
right.
that one year. We were in a bind. We had so many older vehicles at that time.
That's correct,
So that was 8, 9 years ago that we had to go
That's
through all
correct.
that.
that's right.
I was just trying to get a cycle about how long it takes us to get back in a bind again.
Well, if we're rotating out, like we were, 6 vehicles a year, you're looking at, if you're running 30,000 mile a year, 7 years, 210,000 mile. And we can't do that on 42 vehicles.
if we get back to where you're running about 8, you're gonna be, about 8 in a year, you're gonna be rotating them out about every 5 years. So you should
5
get
to 6,
150,000 miles.
right.
And I know that that's a lot to ask for 1 year's budget cycle, but there again, how many of those are in patrol? How many of those high mileage are patrol vehicles?
Oh, well, I wasn't prepared for them, I have to add them.
You wouldn't want that
You
to
should have told me that one.
Hey, I'd like to put you on the spot.
Asking hard questions now, Rick.
So how much are you thinking about asking for when you're talking 12 vehicles? What's the dollar number you're looking at?
Okay, the dollar number we've got in the budget that I've already submitted to Kelly was, let me find it, give you the exact number, 350,000. And we were getting 186,000. So that's with equipment, we're wanting to buy 6 cars, 6 trucks, since the trucks do better on gravel roads. And that's, the trucks are 25,242 on the state bid plus 4,600 on equipment. Puts you at 29,842 on the truck. The car is 28,011 equipped.
But that equips them? This
That
number
equips
you're
them
talking about
without,
equips them?
less the camera and less the radio. It puts a cage in, the console, the siren, blue lights, and the install fees. And then we're asking for 30,000 for 5 cameras. I'd like to get 3 to 5 cameras a year. Eventually, we get all of our cars in the patrol with a camera in it. So we got those 2 big ticket item numbers in the budget for 2020.
Just
I know,
numbers.
It's going, this will all come out the budget, but now, since they've got the cameras installed, when will your service contract start on those? It'll be 1 year from...
We get 1 year from the date, right now, when they're finished, October to December. And then next year, that goes to October, and then we'll have a 3-month contract for service next fall on the cameras.
Don't they renew that on an annual basis?
Well, they give us a price in there for 3 months, and they give us an annual price.
Okay. But if we do it for 3 months, then in January, we're gonna have to come up and pay for the rest of the year at that point in time.
I can't answer that one right now. I think they've been billing us a month on a monthly charge, or going to, after that first year
Okay.
of service contract.
You might want to check with them and make sure, and see if we're gonna get a discount if we're paying it on a yearly basis versus a monthly basis. Because that could add up to a lot of money.
The dash cams, how much are they individually?
They're $5,000 roughly.
What about body cams? Wouldn't that be quite a bit cheaper to serve the same purpose?
We don't, I'm not pushing body cams. I want cameras in the cars to start with, so we can film everything out there. It's just better, you know.
The ones you're looking at, do they film to the rear? Do they film the passenger compartment as well? The road out
I don't
front?
think that's right, is it, Rob? They don't film in the back of the car, do they?
Actually,
The back seat only. I know it's audio, the whole car and outside.
Well, I know the ones we had in Blytheville, you got the shot at the front of the car.
Yes.
And then you could have one for the back seat also, and that's what I was asking. Doesn't do the rear of the car, just the back seat.
That's right. That's right.
So if you get somebody like the guy that, what was it, West Memphis, had a gun stashed in his belt, pulled it out, shot the big window of the car. You get pictures of it at least.
Okay.
How many of those cameras do you have now?
I think we've got 7 working cameras. Isn't that right, David? 9 working cameras. When we first came in, we had
think
ICOPs
that's
and
what it
those,
is.
they weren't
Maybe
good,
8.
they all wore out. Pardon?
It's either 8 or 9, I think.
See, some years we didn't get any. And we try to have enough in to try to get at least 3 cameras a year, so we get them all outfitted.
But that won't be the entire 42 vehicles that you're looking at doing those in patrol.
Yes, patrol only.
How many are we talking about in patrol for cameras?
22.
All right. What else have you got that's coming up next year that we need to look at or consider?
In the budget,
Yes.
where we were looking at doing, changing the jail uniforms and having Centos, they made us a quote on jail uniforms just like they're doing at the landfill, and I think the road department. And that would be a $21,000 or 22, whatever it is here, find it. item that we're asking for there at 21.2. So that would be an increase of less than $15,000 from what we've been asking.
Because you're getting what, now 6,500 on uniform?
Yes, and that would cover 11 uniforms per person. They swap them out once a week with 11 uniforms, $11.99 a week. And one week they come in and drop 5, next week they pick those 5 up and drop 6. So it would be better for the uniforms out there. They'd stay in better shape, and then if one gets torn or stained or whatever, they switch it out, or the size is changed, they'll switch those out. So, so they asked me to put that in the budget, put it out there and see what y'all think about that. So that's the only 3 changes I've got in the budget, increases.
I know you had several older vehicles that are out of service, and you've been working with Justice Fleeman
Yes,
on do a sale on those. I know he's waiting on some information, I think he said from the landfill,
The road department.
road department.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
How many units have you got there you're gonna be getting rid of?
What's that total count out there, Captain? Is it 12?
Or, no, 12, yes, because one was ready. 12.
Have we got any, because we've run into this before, we did air conditioners, that's been about 3 or 4 years ago, we had to do the roof. Have we got any major repairs that we need to be looking at in the jail or in sheriff?
Not that I'm aware of at this time. The cameras and control board should have seen everything that it's been brought to my attention.
They like the cameras.
Good. Yeah, it's good.
I know you like the air conditioner.
They work.
I had something else I was gonna ask you about, and I forgot what it was. Does anyone else have any questions for the sheriff?
I was just curious, what about electronic monitoring? I know that we don't do that for the county prisoners. Is there any look to the future to do it?
Well, we've discussed that before, and we just hadn't done it. I mean, you know, we had some prices, I don't remember what they were then, but we don't have that many people out. I mean, you know, our ADC people, when we get them, they're taking them fairly timely now to ADC and get them out of our way. And if we got one that needs to be, we'll try to do it on a case-by-case basis. But I think they offered, didn't they offer us a package of like 6 or a dozen of them at a certain price? I can't give you those numbers right now, but that's been months ago, and we didn't follow in on it.
Isn't that sort of paid for by the person that has to wear it?
I think
you
if the
decide to do
judge,
that?
I think if the judge finds it on the person, they'd have to pay for that, yes.
I remember what I wanted to ask you about, touchy subject, old fines. I know that you brought me some information on old fines.
No.
Oh, no, I was just looking around. You brought me some information that said there is a new ruling that we can use a collection agent.
Yes,
Now, in reading this, what I read in it, I'll tell you about that, and I'll let him add anything to it he sees fit. We can use a collection agency by state law now, but they have to do it a little bit differently than they normally do. Usually a collection agency collects it and sends you your percentage. In this case, they have to collect the whole fine, send it to the county. County has to turn around and write them a check back for their percentage. In addition to that, they have to post a $50,000 bond in order to be able to do this. So they're researching to see if there's any counties that are doing it, and if they've got agencies that are doing this. Because it'll be one of those things, we'll have to go out and let people see if they want to bid on it. Is there anything else in there that you
no,
want to
that's the main
add to
thing.
it?
It's, the court would have to do an ordinance to assign a collection agency to collect old fines. And or either circuit court or district court or both to a private contractor, and they had to put up, post a $50,000 bond with the Secretary of State in Little Rock. And, I mean, if we can find some, we don't have an answer on how many's doing it or may be doing it in the states yet. We're researching that right now. I mean, if we can do it, I'm for it.
What have you got to lose?
Nothing.
Well, that's,
And
yeah,
I'm for it.
Yeah, and we could tell them, or couldn't we could determine like what would constitute an old fine that we would want them to collect, like if it was more than, what, 5 years old or more than 3 years old?
I think
or-
that's between the Quorum Court, finance, the
I
Quorum
think,
Court
I
and
think
the
what we
agency.
could do is set it up, if my memory serves me right, you'd have to give them so long, and if they, just like we give them a 90-day, let's say we give them a 90-day window, you miss payments for 90 days, we're gonna turn you over to collection agency. You know, I don't know that we will be that strict, we might wanna just do the first, because I think these go back, what, 22 years? didn't we say?
20-some odd years, yes.
So we might wanna give them the first 15 years and see what we can do with the latest one.
And we're giving monthly, both prosecutors on the north end and south end, I think Marsh is doing it by alphabet, who's arrears on old fines, and then they're trying to get them into court. I don't know how successful that's gonna be, but I mean, we're doing that too, and we're also doing the Arkansas income tax. We're notifying them if they owe us, and that'd bring in a little bit of money there, but I think the best thing now, after this law, after he came out with this year, to use a collection agency, we can find one to do that.
That'd be great, and they kept the driver's license, right? Where it will suspend their driver's license if they can't get a new driver's license, if they owe an old fine, is that right?
That's up to the court to do
Okay.
that.
Oh, okay.
To suspend
I was gonna say, I
them.
think the court has to do that.
I think it's
know-
on traffic, isn't it?
Well, if you have a traffic warrant, then the state will suspend them.
Okay.
But
But they
if you
kept that
just-
in place,
If you
right?
don't have.
Yes.
Unless the judge court orders it, I don't think they suspend it. Is there,
I mean, if everybody wants a copy of this from Rainwater, I can get it copied and y'all can all have it and read it, digest it, and you know, but this just came out in April of this year.
he showed it to me and I read it and I thought, well, that's one avenue, because it did come up before. Apparently we couldn't do it, but if we can now, I think we should look at it. Did a little research, we're not as far behind the old fines as some other counties, but that's no excuse for us not to try to collect that.
No, I mean, there's other counties farther behind on whole fines and not doing anything from what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
I know Craighead County gives theirs to the prosecutor, and I don't think it goes anywhere. So, we're farther ahead than that if we locate a collection agency, that somebody's doing it somewhere with another county right now or another city. As
Why
soon as
would
I
a-
get that
why
information,
would
I'll-
why would a collection agency not want to do this? Is there something that this would be different than regular collections?
That $50,000 bond to the state, I don't know what that would cost. No,
Is that a cash bond?
I don't know.
No, it didn't say, it just says $50,000
It says
bond with the
bond.
Secretary of State.
I'm not, they may have to have a bond even now. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, they already
I
have-
bet they do.
I mean, a bondsman has to have a bond about pretty much the same, so I would say.
Yeah, all it says here is the
Collection
collector
bond.
must post a $50,000 bond or certificate of deposit with the Secretary of State. That's all he says on it.
I figured the issue would be, because like I say, and I know most collection agencies, they collect it, they send their part, your part back to you, and they keep their percentage. Well, they're gonna have to write us a check, and then it depends on how our payables go when we would pay them their percentage. That might be the one thing that would be a sticking point. I don't know. I'm just saying we need to check into it.
Yeah.
We'll try to get you more information on that, and I've asked him to check into whether somebody else is using this method, who they're using, or if we can find somebody who's interested in doing it, period. And then we'll bring it back, we'll have a meeting and try to send it over to, I guess there it would go to finance, because it does concern finance, so we would have to have them put a stamp of approval on it too, and then take it to the court. But we want to get some more information, we're working on it. I do talk to the sheriff every once in a while.
He goes on to say that the contingency fee basis, the collection of, for, the commission for collection is set up as a percentage and is set in the ordinance. So when you do the ordinance, you have to set the percentage. The contingency fee percentage is to be set as a percentage of the total fine owed by the defendant. And the total amount paid is credited to the defendant according to law, and I think they had to collect the whole amount, submit it to the county, and then we reimburse him back for the
Yeah.
contingency fee. I think that's the way it goes, instead of them just holding it out like they do other people. It says the county collects and then remits, so amounts collected are remitted to the collector monthly, and then the county will reimburse or disperse back to the collection agent its percentage and commission. So we have to collect the whole thing and then give them that percentage back.
And we set the percentage.
You had to set it by ordinance, the percentage, and to delegate the responsibility to collect fines to a private collector. So you had, that tells me you got to name who it is, that you're gonna do it, who it is, and what the percentage is.
And I think that's something we would have to negotiate with them, because I think most collection agencies get 25%. I don't know.
I have no idea.
Well, Sheriff, did you say you're gonna make a copy?
I'm gonna make a copy
And
of
give
what
us-
the Rainwater's guidance,
Okay,
and then Jennifer is polling the other 74 sheriffs to see if anyone is using a collection agency. So when I get that information, we just haven't got it yet.
but the copy that you have,
This, I'm gonna
Yes.
get y'all a copy, yes.
you know, 77 years old, I need to read it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
But it's a good idea, I just need, you know, to know the whole details. the
That's right,
percentage and all
that's
that.
right.
You probably know that, I don't.
But I mean, you know, before you do an ordinance, y'all need to go over this, you understand it, and then you let
Yeah, that's what I need to.
the county attorney draft that ordinance.
We'll have to, I'm sure we'll have to negotiate that rate, so. And I definitely want finance involved in that, so.
Thanks.
Huh?
Right.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to trade with this.
Thanks for bringing that. I mean, I think it's a great idea.
I-
Well, I mean, we just got this.
I understand.
Before, his guidance was we can't do it, and
Right.
things changed, so I brought it to Rick here a couple of months ago, I think, and then we just didn't have a chance to get it in front of you guys and ladies.
We want to get a little more information, make sure.
Well, I think it saves the sheriff's office a lot of time and
Well, I
manpower.
mean, we don't have the manpower to
I
do
know.
it.
That's what I'm saying, it
And
saves you
whatever,
time.
I've never been in collection, but I don't know what they do, but they gotta be experts at it. If they can go find and collect anything, I think it's a plus.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
So
Those
you
are the
asked me
high
about.
points I wanted to discuss with.
You asked me about the tasers, the vehicles, old fines, and the cameras in the jail, and the control board, we went over all that.
Chairman, did you get the email from Kelly a while ago?
I did, and I said, no, we don't, because I don't think we counted.
Depreciation,
Yes.
yes, we did.
We do figure that in the
Yes.
cost of jail fees?
Yes, I hadn't sent it, I just got it from Jennifer a few minutes ago.
You
But
listening,
it's
Kelly?
figured in. Kelly don't have
Jennifer.
it.
He already talked to me about it.
Has he?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted somebody to respond to you.
Thank you.
Well, it's figured, Jennifer says it's figured on a 25-year depreciation. So they're putting in 1/25th every year into this fee and then figuring it back in what it's cost us per day.
Guys, the question came from an attorney to Kelly. You want to tell him, Kelly?
Sure, it's Kaylin Lewis. She works for Jason Owens
It
Law
was with
Firm.
Rainwater.
She is, yeah, it used to be Rainwater. She is working with, I think, Faulkner County. They're having some jail fee issues.
Imagine.
And their question was, in establishing the amount that they're going to charge cities, do other counties include the depreciation of their jail? And so that was my question. Do we do that, and how do you come up with that amount? And the sheriff said, yes, we do that, and it's based on 25-year depreciation of the total cost of the facility.
Yes. 2018, it was $615,971.88, what was figured into that.
Okay. I'll
You know, I
let
can get you a
the,
copy.
I'll let the bean counters figure that one out.
That's a little too much cipher for me, ain't it?
Yeah, especially when naught plus naught equals naught. Anything else that you've got that we need to know about?
Nothing I know of. I mean, that's the key things that you asked me about.
All right, now.
And, then you wanna go with if you wanna go with the budget or do it Monday in the
I'm-
finance meeting.
No reason going over it twice, why don't you just hold it to Monday unless you
Okay.
got something you wanna present to.
I just want to make sure you have those items in there and when you present it so that they've got a full picture. And I wanted to give them a better idea of why we're asking for some of the things that we are from the sheriff's department. I will tell you from experience, I didn't like driving a car that had over 150,000 miles on it. Especially not when you look at me and tell me I'm going to be in a high-speed chase. And as a mechanic told me one time, Pittman arm, like it fell off of a car, and it had 80,000 miles on it. He said, it's just wore out, y'all drove it too much.
Well, we did a little checking, Major Captain Gladden and I, and a police car is about twice as much wear and tear on it as a civilian car. Due to idle time, you're chasing somebody or whatever, if that's the case. Other than CID, they don't get run hard. And he went back, and I'm gonna let you expound on, if you want to, on some of the different departments that we found that's swapping them out 100 to 135,000 mile in 3 to 5 years, was it? I think we found that they're trying to flip that police car out, swap it out, put another one in service. And that's what we'd like to get to. By buying 80 year after this year, we feel like we can maintain our fleet and continue just to buy 80 year, unless we add some more people like we did with the courthouse security folks and the 2 transporters. If we do that, you know, we'll have to make arrangements for that, because when we did this 2 years ago, we didn't add any cars for those people. We put them in our older fleet, and that's what we've been doing. But sooner or later, you've used up 6 cars that I can't keep passing down or whatever. And then like Justice Fleeman, he's the last one that did a sale on cars the last year he was in office. We haven't had a sale since he went out of office.
In other words, I'm
2-3
your
years
savior.
ago. So you're the savior. So I guess we've been waiting on him to come back.
Do have some value.
I've reappeared.
But we do need to address that and move those vehicles out, while you can still get something out of them.
No, I'll put something in. If Dave wants to add to it, he can. The cars you were talking about, they were buying used, they were buying out of Missouri. Missouri has a strict policy at 50,000 miles, car comes off the road, highway patrol. They replace it. Now, if the car is 2 years old, they sell it for like $18,000. You get about a $4,000 or $5,000 discount, the depreciation. If it's 3 years old, it drops to about 16. If it's 5
Shit,
years
no
old,
warranty on
it
it.
drops down to 12. But that's the way they do it. They sell those cars, that money's immediately put back into their new car budget, and they buy them. The city of Blytheville bought some. We went up there and bought one time. Got in the car to drive it off the lot. Tires were all messed up. You could tell that they needed tires. They pulled it back in the lot. They put a brand new set of tires on it. There you go. Somebody put some flat spots on the tires, stop it. That's the way Missouri does their fleet. They do them at 50,000. Now, the state of Arkansas doesn't do theirs. But I'm sure that they've researched more departments than just Missouri, and he may can tell you more about it.
Not really. What I found out, a lot of agencies try to get rid of them anywhere between 60 and 135,000 miles. And not just necessarily the wear and tear on them, it's also the safety issue, because we're asking a young man to get in this car and go out and work, and if he has to chase someone in a pursuit or something for rape or robbery or burglary or anything like that, we need to keep him in something safe, because we put him in something that's junk and he gets hurt. I think it's a liability on the sheriff and going forward as well.
Well, I gotta tell you, I'm proud of our sheriff's department. I think they do a heck of a job. And I don't think we can expect them to continue to do a good job if they don't have the equipment to do it with. You know, I'm not just talking the vehicles, I'm talking, and I know money's an issue, but it's hard for them to do a job when they don't have the right stuff to do it with.
I mean, all we can do is ask. you guys control the purse strings. We can ask and tell you what we need, give you the reasons why. If y'all don't, if you fund it, that's great. If you don't fund it, we gotta try to make it work somehow. And,
And you always have.
it was tough that
I
first
started
3 years.
saying,
That first 3 years was very
I
difficult,
understand.
very difficult.
So do all the new cars go into patrol and then they just kind of filter?
Well, I've
up
tried to even it
before?
out. I mean, right now, we're in good shape, CID, and our 2 guys in the drug task force, so the bulk of them are going into patrol, but when we get some that's needed replaced in CID, those other slots, I'll move them in there too some. I'll order accordingly. If I need 2 over there, I'll order 2 for them, the rest for CID, or, you know, whatever the case is. But this time, we played with the numbers, whether we bought all cars would be cheaper. But what we've found is, they don't do well on gravel roads if you run them on gravel roads all the time. They're lower to the ground, all that, but we got a lot of highway too, so we started buying, 3 or 4 years ago, buying a few trucks. And I added a few more the next year and a few more, and so what we, figured these numbers on was 6 cars and 6 trucks equipped. And then we're gonna use the radios out of the old cars that we're swapping out, so I'm not putting a radio cost in there. And, what was the other item we didn't figure in, that we're gonna try to use old equipment? We're trying to use old equipment where we can.
Much of those we can.
But certain things, if they change the inside, I can't use the same console, maybe out of an older one into a newer one. The trucks, you know, when that's buying a screen and all that, so that 4600 was for everything minus the radio and the camera. The rest of the equipment, siren, blue lights, installation, the screen, and that type of thing.
By buying 12, is that an extra discount? By getting a dozen?
Well, I don't know that they'll give us a discount there, because we'll be buying, everything we buy is at state bid price. It's already discounted. So, civilians can't buy them on that state bid.
Yeah.
You know, they're really, some dealers don't want to participate in the state bid because they're not making money. So, but that's the way it's always been.
When I was
They
buying
do
cars
what
for
they do.
Blythe, you buy one on a state contract for 21,000. If you went to a local dealership, it was 32,000.
Mhm.
So you getting the discount, you just don't realize it because they're giving you a
Yeah.
state bid price.
And same thing with tires. We buy all the tires on the state bid price. You know.
Yeah, those, Goodyear Eagles that I used to like to run on my truck, $150 a tire. I won't tell you what the state takes for them, but they don't pay that. A third of it. Okay, you have anything else?
I don't have anything.
Okay.
I will get you all a copy of this, the rainwater's guidance, and the backup information he gave us with it, supporting information. And as soon as we get the information on other collection agents for the other 74 sheriffs, I'll let y'all know that. And I'm gonna get a copy of this to Kelly on the, how Jennifer figures the jail fees. It shows the depreciations in there.
Anything else anybody wants to ask the sheriff? I'm gonna, if not, we're gonna step over and do 911. I know they're part of public safety and we're police, fire, and safety, so anybody has any questions for sheriff? All right. Wayne, you got anything we need to hear about?
Yes. I have been tasked with updating and redoing our safety plan for the county because our injury rates and lost time rates are a little high for the AAC and it's affecting our insurance. So I've gone through and revamped the safety plan. And there's a few things about it. It's not set in stone. It's a living document. If changes need to be made to this as we go and learn things, that's easy. We can do that. Another thing is, a couple things I specifically want to point out to it is, on the page 5 of it, is light duty. We need to be making an effort all departments need to be making an effort. When you have somebody injured, to put them on light duty. Because if they're on light duty at the office, or if they go home, we're still paying them. But if they're on light duty, it doesn't affect our insurance rates near as much.
Do you happen to have a form for that? Harley brought me a form and I asked my wife to look at it because she would be one of the people that might be filling one out. And she still got my copy, but she basically looked at me and said, no, this would be no problem to fill out. And it would, when it says light duty, it would actually say they can do this, 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 and this. Because that was, somebody said that was our problem, we didn't have a definition of light duty.
We can make that easy, very, very easy.
I've got one, I'll give it to you.
Okay, that'd be great. And, yes. And another thing is, on pages 5 and 6, there are specific timelines for getting once somebody gets injured on duty, there's a lot of reporting that needs to happen for the AAC, for us, and there's timelines on these reports, and we need to emphasize to some departments that we need these, and it says that we needed it within 24 hours of injury, we need it in 24 hours of injury, not 4 days later. So, but that's the things I wanted to specifically point out.
Okay, does each department head have a copy of that? How often, how quickly they're required to report that?
Yes, they do. Yeah, that is something that Beverly pushes out to all the departments have that already. And it's if the safety plan's approved, that they will have either in digits or in black and white a copy of it. And plus, this safety plan is to be provided to every employee, and there's a place for them to sign in there and say, yes, we did this. And so that we have proof that, yes, you knew what the rules were and you know you need to work safely. Another thing in here is that I'm trying to make each department have a lot more input and ownership of this. I'm not the subject matter expert of conditions at the road department or the landfill or the jail. But that's why the supervisors at those areas will be giving out, they know what they need to be giving, they know what their hazards are, what they need to be giving their monthly briefing on, and things like that. So, and there'll be forms for them to document what the briefings
This
are.
needs to be put in our handbook, does it not?
Well, that was gonna be my question.
This is like a whole extra handbook, or it would be
I would think that this would be something we would need to adopt so that it would be pushed out as a policy that we can enforce.
correct. That's why I'm bringing it to y'all, so y'all can bless off on it, and then the quorum court can say, yes,
When do you think we'll have copies of it?
I have it on digits, and I can get that to you I can get that to Cindy, and she can, this afternoon, and I was under the impression that y'all had copies of this already, but I
haven't seen it yet. That's
I will.
why I'm questioning it.
okay,
If you'll send it to Cindy, you can send it out to us in digital format, and then if we want to, we can print it out, read it, and then, are they giving us a timeline we're supposed to do this by? Because I know the city of Blythe was under the same thing.
I think by the end of the calendar year.
We
That
may
ain't
have
far
to-
away.
No,
We may have to look at a meeting before the end of the year. I was hoping this would be our final one for the year on this, but we may have to look at one before the end of the year just to address that. So we'll try to get out and look at it. This is 1st of October. I give us about 6 weeks to get it read. Look at doing something in December. We'll try to set a time if that's agreeable with everyone.
okay,
And I'll try to get you that form and you can look it over and see if you think it would work. And
not a
it
problem.
might be something we even incorporate into that.
Okay.
Do you do the FEMA thing? I mean, aren't you one kind of,
Yes.
all right, I just got a question for you. I want you to check into this. Tipton County is putting tons of good white rock on Island 35 and on Centennial Island. I mean, when I say tons, I'm literally meaning 400 truckloads per island. And because the Mississippi River was up so long, for 6 months, they applied for FEMA, and FEMA's paying for all that gravel. Nobody lives on Centennial and nobody lives on 35.
Okay, I'll track down.
But we've got that road that goes all the way from Blytheville down to 120. It's back in the tomato area. And it's in horrible shape. If we could possibly get some FEMA money to fix that road, that would really help the county.
And I've been looking at money for that road, and there's been some state mitigation grants, and the state doesn't, they judge the criteria, one of their judgment criteria is how many people it affects, and if there's nobody who lives back there, but.
There's a lot of people travels it though.
Right.
I mean, a lot of farmers use it, and I mean, other people use it too. There's a couple of hunting clubs back there. And, but like I said, nobody lives on Centennial and nobody lives on 35. And Tipton County has hauled literally 400 truckloads to Centennial and into 35.
I will talk to their emergency manager and find out what avenue they did, how they went about that.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Anything else for us?
No, that was it.
Anyone have any questions for me?
I got one to Steve. You video our meetings and then post them on our website, Facebook page, wherever. Is that correct?
They are, excuse me, they are archived on YouTube.
YouTube?
Yes.
Do you
They are
edit them
linked.
before you archive them? Do you cut sections out sometimes?
He's smiling, he must mean no.
A yes is okay, I'm
I
not
will
being.
talk to you after the meeting.
Okay.
He must mean he don't.
All right. We have no other business.
Motion to adjourn.
We're adjourned.
Do you want me to work through there?
You can edit it.